And a new economic reality is reshaping some formerly affluent suburbs. We take a closer look at suburban poverty tonight on In the Loop. Good evening, I'm Barbara Pinto.
And I'm Chris Bury. Tonight, a closer look at poverty where you'd least expect it in some of Chicago's wealthiest suburban areas. Nationwide, the number of low-income people has grown 5 times faster in suburbs than in cities.
DuPage County is prime example. Since 1990, the number of people living in poverty there has skyrocketed by more than 150%.
Trying to get tomatoes?
No, thank you, but I do need a head of lettuce. And those salad tomatoes.
This could be the scene at just about any grocery store in the Chicago area. The well-stocked shelves and aisles crowded with shoppers loading up their carts.
There you go. You're all set.
But this is no supermarket. It's a food pantry in suburban Naperville called Loaves Fishes. And for those struggling to make ends meet, it's a lifeline.
I was a forklift driver, but I lost my driver privileges, so I couldn't drive to work.
As a result, Shamar Finley, who lives in Naperville, lost his job. A regular visitor to this food pantry, he can fill his shopping cart to the brim and walk out the door without paying a penny.
You know, when you're down and out, they give you a lot, and I'm able to feed my family, and, you know, they're happy, you know.
Finley is one of the thousands of people living in DuPage County who depend on Loaves and Fishes for groceries. Despite an economic turnaround in some places, the need here has grown 7% over the last year.
We have difficulty convincing people in our neighborhood that there are people here who are struggling to make ends meet.
Jane McDonald is Director of Nutrition and Wellness at Loaves and Fishes.
They're my neighbors, my friends, people that I've known all my life who are suddenly in situations that they didn't expect.
We have had no income from my husband for several years, so this place has really helped us meet our expenses.
Kathy Abraham of Naperville visits Loaves and Fishes twice a month.
I just get the basics. Nothing fancy for our family. We live very simply.
Times have changed here in DuPage County. This suburban enclave, known for leafy towns and McMansions, was once considered the 23rd most affluent county in the nation. Now it struggles with a new economic reality. Hard times have left 174,000 residents barely able to get by, and many charitable organizations struggling to provide support.
You know, like Salvation Army or stuff like that. They're wonderful people, but they're trying to help so many, and they don't have enough people to give and to help. So
we've got a big cluster down here in Burr Ridge. We've got another cluster in Bensonville and Addison and Glendale Heights and Carroll Stream and West Chicago and Naperville, and basically they're throughout our county.
Candace King is Executive Director of the DuPage Federation on Human Services Reform. Her aid group located next to the Illinois Department of Human Services office in Villa Park, where she sees evidence of the growing need every day. People lining up for state benefits, from link cards to Medicaid.
They lose their jobs. The recession caused a great increase in that population. And those folks aren't accustomed to being poor. They don't know how to be poor.
That pretty much describes 48-year-old Melinda Panzer, a registered nurse who lost her job in 2008 and then endured a financially devastating divorce. She and her ex-husband once lived the good life.
We made, anywhere from $290 to $350, $100,000 a year.
On the surface, Melinda appears to be doing fine, but don't let the fancy 4,000 square foot home on a shady cul-de-sac in Naperville fool you. All 3 mortgages on her house are in default, and Melinda relies on a link card for groceries.
I just coupon it up and watch the sales and, do everything I can to make it stretch.
This former mental health nurse never thought she'd find herself here.
Working in the field of nursing I did, I was the one, who always advocated those services for my clients, and now I'm needing them.
Melinda realizes she's lucky compared to those who don't have a roof over their heads. On average, there are about 1,400 homeless people in DuPage County and no permanent shelter. Many end up sleeping in local churches through a program called PADS. The group works with 160 different congregations and provides case managers to help people find permanent housing. But as Candace King points out, the need far outstrips the county's capacity.
What we lack is the infrastructure of poverty. We don't have enough food pantries, homeless shelters, transitional housing.
King says DuPage County officials have responded by creating DuPage Access to provide free health care, a forerunner to the Affordable Care Act. But she said the perception lingers that poverty remains an inner-city problem.
Federal money, state money, and private philanthropic money goes disproportionately to the city compared to what the need is.
So why is suburban poverty on the rise when the headlines say the economy is growing and more people are finding jobs?
They're going back to work, but they're not getting paid enough to meet expenses.
The truth is, many of the clients who come here are working. They have a job, but they just can't make enough to support their family. They need help.
The solution is to figure out what can we do to help these people not be poor anymore. And I think the good jobs and good wages and housing that they can afford is a big part of the solution.
With this suburban shift in the nation's poor comes a warning from experts who say it is critical for suburbs to find ways to help people get back to work and back on their feet, or they risk further resembling inner cities with entrenched neighborhoods in economic distress.